Why do they push away the one person who actually cared? Not the people who stayed distant, not the ones who kept things shallow, not the ones who never asked them to show up emotionally, but the one person who noticed, stayed, and didn't disappear the moment things became real. This isn't coincidence. It's not timing. It's not that you wanted too much. It happens because genuine care creates pressure, and pressure exposes what someone has been avoiding their entire life. When someone truly cares, they don't just offer affection. They create emotional visibility. They see patterns. They notice withdrawal. They respond to silence. They feel the shifts before they are spoken. And that level of attunement is deeply uncomfortable for someone who learned to survive by staying emotionally contained. Care becomes a mirror, and mirrors are dangerous to people who built their sense of safety on not being seen too clearly. Being cared for means being witnessed. It means your inconsistencies are felt. It means your absence is noticed. It means your internal world matters to someone else. And if a person grew up in an environment where closeness came with consequences, where being seen led to criticism, abandonment, or loss of control, that kind of care doesn't feel comforting. It feels threatening. Not because it's harmful, but because it activates parts of the self they've kept dormant for survival. There is a moment that happens internally when someone realizes they are being cared for deeply. It's quiet, often unconscious. A recognition that this person isn't going to disappear easily, that they expect emotional presence, that they might need things, that they will notice if something is off. And in that moment, a calculation begins. Not a conscious one, but a nervous system calculation. Can I sustain this? Can I show up? Can I be what this connection will eventually require? And when the answer feels uncertain, fear steps in. Fear of failing, fear of disappointing, fear of being exposed as emotionally limited. That fear doesn't show up as vulnerability. It shows up as distance. Because distance reduces demand. Distance lowers expectations. Distance restores control. Pushing you away becomes a way to escape the internal pressure that care creates. There is also shame embedded in this pattern, but not the kind of shame that looks like apology or remorse. It's the quiet kind. The kind that says, I should be able to do this, but I can't. I should want this, but it feels overwhelming. I should be grateful, but I feel trapped. That internal conflict is intolerable. So instead of sitting with it, instead of naming it, instead of learning how to regulate inside closeness, they remove the source of activation. They push away the person who cares. Not because you were unsafe, but because you were too close to the truth of who they are and who they are not yet able to be. Another layer of this pattern lives in identity. Many people who push away genuine care have built an identity around independence, emotional self-sufficiency, and not needing anyone. That identity often formed early, when relying on others led to disappointment. Being deeply cared for threatens that identity. It introduces interdependence. It suggests that someone else can affect them, influence them, matter to them. And that loss of emotional autonomy feels destabilizing. Rather than adjusting their identity to include closeness, they retreat from the person who challenges it most. You didn't just care. You disrupted their emotional equilibrium. You represented a different relational model, one where connection required presence, not performance. one where feelings were acknowledged instead of avoided, one where consistency mattered. And their nervous system did not know how to exist inside that model without panic. There is also a survival reflex at play that often goes unnoticed. When someone grows up in emotionally unpredictable environments, they learn that attachment precedes loss, that closeness is temporary, that loving deeply guarantees pain. So when real care appears, the nervous system reacts preemptively. It doesn't wait to see if this connection will hurt. It assumes it will, and moves to end it before the pain becomes unbearable. Ending it early feels safer than waiting for abandonment later. Pushing you away becomes a form of emotional self-protection. Not logical, not intentional, but deeply ingrained. This is why the pattern feels so confusing. One moment, they soften, they open, they lean in. The next, they pull back, go cold, or act indifferent. This isn't manipulation in the way people often imagine it. It's oscillation. A nervous system swinging between longing and fear, wanting closeness but not knowing how to stay regulated inside it. Instead of learning regulation, they choose distance, and over time, distance becomes the default solution to emotional discomfort. The tragedy is that this pattern almost always targets the healthiest connection in their life, the one that offered repair instead of repetition, the one that didn't rely on chaos or inconsistency. But health feels unfamiliar when instability is what you learned. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar safety. So they retreat into what they know, even if it costs them something real. From your side, being pushed away by someone you cared for deeply doesn't just hurt, it destabilizes your sense of reality. You replay moments. You question yourself. You wonder if you were too intense, too present, too invested. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin carrying their fear as self-doubt. But this is where the truth matters. You didn't push them away by caring. Their fear did. You didn't lose the connection because you were too much. You lost it because they were not able to stay present inside something meaningful. Understanding this doesn't mean excusing the pain. It means releasing yourself from responsibility for someone else's unfinished emotional work. People who push away the one person who actually cared often feel it later. Not always immediately, not always consciously, but eventually. When distraction stops working, when the noise fades, when the absence becomes unmistakable. But awareness does not always lead to change, and you do not need to wait for someone else's delayed realization to validate what you experienced. Your role is not to stay available for someone who couldn't stay present. Your role is to choose relationships where care does not create fear, where closeness does not require self-abandonment, where being seen is met with openness instead of retreat. And if this experience has left you questioning whether loving deeply was a mistake, let this be the clarity you carry forward. Care is not a weakness. Emotional presence is not a flaw. Wanting depth does not make you too much. It makes you capable of real connection. And the fact that someone couldn't receive it does not diminish its value. It simply shows where they were unable to go. Welcome to Attachment Alchemy Lab. You're safe here.